Is the reality in Australia, though, we haven't ever had to consider nuclear because we've had so much coal. But as coal-fired power stations come out, yes, there is renewables, yes, they will be needed, but you've still got to have something as a baseload power.
Yes, so in the 1970s, we looked at nuclear. We found brown coal, we built Hazelwood instead. You go fast forward to the 80s, Chernobyl, nobody's going to start a new nuclear power program in the 80s post-Chernobyl. But then we get into a new situation where we've got this sort of demand for low emissions. And the whole scenario is changing, but we've not changed with it. You know, we've stayed on the no nuclear path.
Well, I know the interesting part about this is that Australia has a nuclear reactor at Lucas Heights called the Opal reactor, which creates much of the world's nuclear medicine. You ran that reactor. Yes. Again, we have a reactor here, so why the demonisation?
So we started in 1958. We were one of the first nuclear nations. That high-floor reactor was the first reactor in the Southern Hemisphere. Very successful, 50-year life. Now we've got Opal, the new one that's replaced it, provides all the nuclear medicines and silicon irradiation for the renewables industry, and lots of research. So we're very used to nuclear. We've got a world-class nuclear regulator in our Panzer. We've got a world-class safeguards agency in ASNO. We've got all the infrastructure. We're party to all the conventions. And yet we're still not using it yet.
OK, and we've also got much of the world's uranium. We export a third of the world's uranium. We're, I think, the second or third biggest exporter of uranium in the world. But again, we don't use it.
No. So we've got twice as much uranium as anywhere else in the world. We're the third biggest producer. It all goes abroad, and all these lucky countries use it to generate low emissions electricity. You know, the amount we actually export would actually cover in emissions all our electricity generation.
All right, so when you see the pricings from the government about nuclear is too expensive, the renewables are much cheaper, we should go down that front because economically that is the better way to go, what is the response to that?
The problem is the Gen Cost report that CSIRO, AMO produce every year. Now, to get the costings for that, they ask a consultancy, an expert, and they use Oricon. So Oricon do a really good job. They look at all the technologies worldwide and come up with the costings, except nuclear. So Oricon don't do nuclear. The last time that CSIRO asked for a nuclear cost for the Gen Cost report was 2018. GHD did that. Since that, all they've done is trying to cost escalate that every year until this year. And now this year, they thought, really got you this year because there's a cancelled project in the US, and they said, look, we've got real figures now we can use. But they haven't been able to interpret those because they didn't use any consultancy to do it. So the costs they've got for SMRs in particular are just, you know, ridiculous.
All right, so we interviewed a few weeks ago the Energy Minister of Ontario. Now, he told us that not only are they going ahead with small modular reactors, which is a part of the plan of the coalition, but also they're able to get them in quick time. And indeed, they're able to get them in with relative economy, even compared with the existing forms of energy that they're generating. Yeah. So is that more likely to be the real life solution if we went down this path?
Yes. So they're going to install the GE Hitachi BWX 300 at the Darlington site. This is Ontario Power Generation. They've applied for the construction licence. They're preparing the site. Should be operational by 2028. And you know, it's a new type of reactor, but it's based on the existing technology. So it's not a big unproven technology, it's a proven technology. We've been monitoring it for years and we're very happy with that technology. That would be very good.
And where would that be best located in Australia if we were to take that technology?
Well, I think the coalition plan's right. The best thing is to repower existing retiring coal-fired sites. You've got the transmission. So you've got big transmission already. One of the problems we see in renewables is this 28,000 kilometres of transmission we've got to build. Very, very difficult. You've got the rest of the infrastructure. So you've got cooling water supplies, some of the buildings, etc. But the most important is you've got the staff. So you've got skilled staff. You retrain those for the nuclear power plant. Most of the plant action on a nuclear power plant is the same as a coal plant. So it's got a turbine, you know, it's got compressors, pumps. If you're a turbine operator on a coal plant, you're a turbine operator on a nuclear plant. You know, there's no basic difference. So you can retrain the staff. That's what we did in the UK. That's what Bill Gates is doing in Wyoming in his project there. You know, and it then brings all these benefits to the community. So you get, you know, economic benefits, you get well-paid jobs, etc. One of the things in the coalition paper is that there's a 2.5-year programme of community engagement, and you need that. You know, we're getting sound grabs today saying no, yes.
Not in my backyard, yes, as it were, yes.
You know, because you've got to go through the whole process of consultation. And you can't impose it. You know, it's got to be, but it's got to be local people, not people coming in from outside and telling the locals what they should be thinking.
Great to have you on the program today. Many thanks for your time.
Thanks, Ross.